welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shivani Gharat. Today in a special chat, we are catching up with Shailesh Chandra, Managing Director, Tata Motors Passenger Vehicles and Tata Passenger Electric Mobility. He's speaking to us about many things, including their expectation and strategy for 2024, bifurcating the ICE and the EV business, and how do they envision an electric future. Shailesh, let's begin the conversation. Since we are meeting right at the start of the year, 1 month down in 2024, tell us your expectations from the year.
See, there had been two very strong years, 2021, 2022, and the growth rates were upwards of 20%. And then it moderated in 2023 to about 8% or so. And it was quite obvious because generally that's the secular growth rate of Indian PV industry, which is about 7 to 8%. So it had to moderate because those 2 years were because of a high pent-up demand and disruptions on the supply side because of semiconductor crisis, etc. This year, I would say, because 2023 also started with a certain level of pent-up demand and also very low channel inventory, it was able to grow at 8%. Good thing is that 3 years back, the market was 2.7 million and it grew to 4.1 million. And it has been able to sustain at that level. And I believe that this is the level at which it can easily sustain and also grow by another 5% or so. But yes, we are not going to see growth rates of 20-25% that we had seen earlier. That's what the expectation is in 2024, is what I see for all the auto manufacturers. Launch activities in the past have really helped. SUV segment, there were multiple launches in 2023. But what really drove 2023 was the new powertrains, which was CNG and electric. 25% growth came from CNG and nearly 95% growth came from electric. I think this is one trend that is going to stay in 2024 also. So from Tata Motors perspective, I would say that we are in the sweet spot because if CNG and EVs are going to grow, I think our portfolio has grown very strong and we intend to bring more models this year. Also, SUVs are growing, especially the mid-size SUV, which is the 4.3 meter category, and there are products that we are going to launch this year, which is starting with Curve, and next calendar year we are also going to come with Sierra. So these are in the 4.3 meter segment. So I think hopefully, therefore, we should be going for an industry-beating growth.
And both the SUV and the EV trend is something that Tata Motors caught early. Tell us more about your push for these two things in the year.
We had been watching the trend quite some time back, say 2016, 2017. The data clearly showed that there is a progressive movement towards SUV. And it was coming because of very practical reasons, good commanding seating position, better visibility, better ground clearance on Indian roads, You have to go to, even remote areas where the roads are not that good. It was for those practical reasons, and therefore we also shifted the bias of our portfolio planning towards SUVs. EVs was a bet, I would say, and that bet was taken in 2018 because at that point in time you were seeing the macro indicator like the climate change issue, the Paris Agreement. 2018, the government came with clear policies on EVs. From Tata Group perspective, it was a nation building opportunity because the country needed this shift. And second, we also had the Tata ecosystem. We had companies like Tata Power, Tata Auto Components, which could help build the ecosystem which was not there because nobody else would invest.
And support your strategy.
Correct.
And plans.
So therefore, we took that bet and relentlessly worked on that, and I think we have been able to make some impact there.
Okay, we'll speak about the electric business, Shailesh, but let's speak about some of the things that have caused a cause of concern for this industry. One is, of course, the increase or the rise in input costs, the rise in commodity prices. Overall inflation has been a big concern for the auto industry in spite of a robust demand that the industry saw last year. Tell us, how is it impacting your overall strategy going into the year?
See, if you generally see the macro factors, one, that industry has been doing good, PV industry specifically. How it is doing good despite some of the concern areas like inflation and also the interest rates. These have been high. But the other counterbalancing factors have been the strong GDP growth. More and more people getting uplifted economically to have discretionary income to buy cars. That is one big mitigating factor that is playing out. Post-COVID, the behavior has changed in favor of cars. I must say, people possibly rather than buying a house, they are buying the cars because most of the car buyers are less than 35 years age. So they prefer buying cars. They are wanting to go out with their families and friends. So the trend is very positive for cars. Inflation and interest rate has really impacted the entry segment. But it has been counterbalanced, I would say, by very moderate price increases taken by the OEMs in this segment. But also you would have seen in 2023, it was also a lot of discounting which happened in this segment to support that segment. To some extent, therefore, industry has also kind of been cautious.
Are you hinting towards a price hike going forward as well?
Price hike will completely be dependent now on the commodity inflation. As last 2 quarters, we have been seeing that commodity has been stable, but you do get hints of increases in certain areas. As and when it happens, there will be two, pronged strategy. One that we go for cost reduction, which is a continuous process within the company through value engineering, commercial reduction, etc. But whatever we are not able to offset, we'll have to pass it on to the
customer
market. Yes.
Do we see also an impact on your advertising spends going forward into the year as well?
I would say, because this is a very high level of demand that you have to sustain, and there will be disruptions also in between. Hopefully, after the election, we might expect a stable government. So things should continue to do better for us. But I would expect, as last year also, the spend on fixed marketing expenses went up. This year also it should go up. And therefore, last year we also participated in IPL, hopefully this year also. So yes, I think we will keep spending on marketing so that there is greater awareness of the newness in the products that we are bringing and new products that we are launching.
Now let's speak about your EV business. Last year, for your passenger electric vehicle mobility business for Tata Motors has been a very interesting year. First, you mentioned it yourself, a mass market EV at the IPL. Everyone saw around the country. It's one of the most watched events. You attained the 1 lakh EV milestone as well for electric vehicles. And then you bifurcated your EV business to Tata.EV. Tell us more. What do we see from the EV business in 2024?
Yeah, so I think, a lot of milestones, as you rightly said, that have been achieved, especially the 1 lakh milestone happened much earlier than what we had anticipated when we entered the segment in 2018. We thought that it's going to be slightly slow. We'll have to be patient. We'll have to keep working on the ecosystem. But it happened fast because the adoption surprised us, especially in certain parts of the country. And therefore, we have come to a level where this business could be separated, right? And we could, aspire for higher growth. And that would mean that we have to make more investment into products. And that triggered the need for separation of EV as a business so that we could squarely focus on that. So the plan, we have been saying in the past, we have 10 products in our mind. 5 of them are already launched. We have
10 products till 2026.
Yeah, 2026, 2027.
Okay.
So Punch EV was launched in Jan. Really got very good response.
Yeah.
We have also announced that Curve and Harrier would come in this calendar year. Next year, we might see Sierra, Altroz, and end of 2025 or early 2026, we'll see Avinya coming in. So we have a lot of products in the pipeline. The idea is that we give the width of portfolio for customers to choose from, because there is a customer at every price point. There is a customer who has a love for a hatch or a sedan or a different kind of body style or a size. People have different use cases. Some use EVs in the cities. Some want to go for outdoorsy experience. Also, they look for higher range. So that would be the plan to increase the portfolio as per the plan that we have made. But the big thing which I would say, which we started 5-6 months back is on the charging infra.
Hmm.
So earlier we were collaborating with Tata Power.
Hmm.
We expanded that collaboration to more charge point operators. Many startups are doing really well in the charging infra space, but are regional players. And you have the oil marketing companies who have got subsidy from the government with a mandate to put about 22,000 chargers. So we are collaborating that if these chargers have to be put, they should be put in the right places. And that information we have because we have the telematics information of all these 140,000 customers who are plying, and we know where the movement is. So where the chargers would make more sense for their chargers to be utilized more and where our customers will get that convenience. So that is another big initiative that we are taking. And of course, now since the volumes have increased to a level of, say, last month we sold about 7,000, the time has come for us to separate the outlets. We did that in Gurgaon recently, the Tata.EV stores. And these will be the initiatives which will continue to progress more in 2024.
Customers look at EVs as almost like a gadget, and smartphone makers have really cracked it with, let's say, fast charging. So is there any research or R&D that you guys are also doing to crack that fast charging when it comes to charging of EVs?
Yes, that is also an attempt because the new architecture, which is active architecture that we launched, that is our first pure EV architecture. Punch is on that platform or the architecture. The future products which are going to come on that architecture will have high charge rates. That has to do with the battery cell that we use inside, its capability. And as the battery pack size increase, if you don't increase the charge taking rates, you'll not be able to charge the car fast. So we are enabling the car first to take that kind of a fast charging. Charging infra will also have to come with more superchargers which can do at 100 kilowatt rate and all. So future, many things will happen which will really bring down these concerns for the customers.
Shailesh, over the past 1 year that, we have seen from Tata Motors, there is a clear push towards the EV business, but you also have an ICE business to manage. How do you strike the balance?
We are not compromising anywhere. Frankly, the statistics would also speak a lot about that. We started our journey in 2018, even if you compare with 2020. Our EV business has grown from nothing to now touching 75,000 this year, and hopefully we should be above 1 lakh next year. On the other hand, the ICE business has grown from about 130, 135,000 a year to more than 500,000. So which means that bringing focus by separating the teams and businesses really helps, not only from a resource focus, but also it gives clarity to both the businesses, because both businesses are going to coexist for long. And therefore, we have to thrive on ICE side also, even more as compared to EVs, because this will be still the sizable part of the industry. So it is now very clear in terms of resource. Passenger vehicle business need not subsidize EV business. They have to earn themselves and invest aggressively for their growth. Whereas for EV business, it needs a period of cash burn because there is an investment which will be done ahead of the revenue realization. So that phase will be taken care of with the external investment that we have got, which is through TPG. So there's absolute clarity in terms of the two businesses, how they will be funded and what will be the sustainable way of winning in passenger vehicle business and proactively winning in EV business. So that's broadly the idea, and that is going to really help.
What are some of the consumer insights that are shaping your strategies? I remember one of the first conversations that I have had with you when it came to Tata Motors EV was, you said, and this I still remember, is a lot of doctors were buying EVs back then at the outset when you had launched Tata Nexon EV. So what are some of the insights that are shaping your strategies?
Yeah, every day we are learning many new things as we interact with customers across the country. Doctors remain the dominant ones, I must say, and slowly I have figured out that they have high running during the day. At the same time, they have a very predictable route from one clinic to the other, and they like that silent drive because they drive on their own, and they want a convenient car. EVs drive very smooth, right? So therefore, in traffic conditions, when they have to move from one clinic to the other, it's a very convenient car. And since they run a lot, running cost also comes down a lot. So that's the reason why doctors are buying. But as we launched, so you would have met me when we had launched Nexon. Then we launched a Tiago also. Yeah. So there are very different use cases that
Tiago has a lot of women buyers, I believe.
A lot of women buyers. So it is definitely a second or a third car in the family. It is also being used to ferry children from home to school and school to back, back to home. And that's because we are seeing this phenomena in tier 2 cities, which have expanded from a 10-kilometer radius to 20-kilometer radius. And in the outer part of those tier 2 towns, you're seeing very good townships coming up. So people have moved outside, but they want their kids to study in the same school where they would have studied, right, in the city. So there is this long commute for the children, in which I think this is also one kind of use case that we are seeing. Apart from a lot of homemakers, women finding this very convenient, and they feel that they have now freedom to move on their own. They are not dependent on anyone. So that is also definitely that one trend we are seeing. We are also seeing for Nexon specifically that there are people who have luxury cars, but you have this business owner who has a factory, say, which is 75 kilometers away, and they like buying an electric car to do that daily commute. So you have that kind of customer also. One big trend that we have seen in states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, is this solar lifestyle, solar rooftop lifestyle emerging. You will see a lot of people having solar rooftop. And therefore, electricity bill comes down for them because there is this feed of another 200 units or benefit that they get out of that. But also, EV becomes a part of the lifestyle. So you will see, therefore, EV adoption becoming very high in states where solar rooftop adoption is going high.
Great.
And this becomes a big lever for two things. One, recently you saw in the union budget also, and Prime Minister also announced about solar rooftop. That's going to play a big, big lever for us to expand the electric vehicle market. But what it does also, this debate that the cleanliness of electric vehicles is as good as grid will completely be taken care of. Because see, whether the grid is at 75% thermal, but if a customer is using a solar rooftop and home charging is 95% of the time a customer is charging at home, then you are talking about a very different mix of renewable energy and thermal for charging the electric vehicles. So today, if we are just studying this fact, 25% of the buyers, electric vehicle buyers, already have a solar rooftop when we analyzed our data, which means that my mix, instead of 75% being thermal or 25% being renewable, already is at 40%. If with the scheme that is going to come from the government, this can mean that electric vehicles might be at 90% renewable over a period of time.
Yes.
Very fast as compared to grid, which might happen at a slow rate. So I think these are some of the trends that we are seeing.
Correct. And finally, before we go, generally while making a purchase, what does the consumer want? What does the customer want? Is it design? Is it the kind of tech that is there in the car? What are some of the things that you have experienced?
I think first they need the comfort of the brand, right? And when I say comfort of the brand, it means that the brand is stable. It's going to stay.
Yeah, a brand that they trust.
Yes, they trust and it's going to stay, which deliver products which are differentiated for something, right? For example, I would say that Tata products are first synonymous with safety. The safest cars are associated with Tatas. I think that is one space you have to occupy. There has to be one very strong differentiation that your brand needs to have. They also look for the network presence across the country. How will be the after-sales support beyond? These are the factors which play behind the brand creation. I think brand therefore definitely is at the top. Unlike, earlier where cars were only seen as moving from point A to point B, where it was more around whether this is cheap or not, whether sasta hai ki nahi, or kitna deti hai,
कितना
right?
mileage देती
Right.
है.
So those things have changed. Brand becomes important, and also remember that a lot of buyers are young, less than 35 years. Majority is less than 35 years. For them, everything that they use is a part of their expression of personality, and therefore car is also.
Yeah.
How they live in home and how they live in a car
Yeah.
is now a part of that. So cars have to be stylish. It should be expressing their personality. They don't want to be seen in a car which is not expressing their personality from a styling perspective. So design also is becoming important.
Important.
Price is becoming less important. I might be giving a very contrarian view here, but the facts show that.
Yeah.
If you really see, 60% of my Nexon buyers, which is a 10-11 lakh buyers, are first-time buyers. But there are cars which are much cheaper than that. Why a first-time buyer is choosing to buy a 10-11 lakh car? Because they want a car to be an object of experience with their families, friends. So if they buy a car, they don't want to experience with their families and friends in a cramped car. They want to have a slightly bigger car, spacious car, which has a music system. Which has, so they are also going for feature-rich cars. Earlier, people used to take, the value for money, variants within that car, but people are going for higher trims. So you're clearly seeing that price is becoming less important because it's okay to give that extra 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees EMI. But they would go for a better car which fully expresses their personality, brand that they trust in, and which has a lot of new tech features, right? So I think these are the trends that we are seeing.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for sharing these insights.
Thank you. My pleasure.
With that, it's a wrap. Goodbye.